As a preliminary matter, this is Matthew Toth, Chair of the Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Suzette Dowd?
Yes.
Suzette? Okay.
Yes.
Nan Johnson?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Here.
Jen?
Yes.
Can't hear you, Jen.
Yes.
Tip that
Thank you.
somehow.
Paula?
Yes.
Okay. And Mary DeCourcy? She's not out yet. Okay. APL staff? Dean Collins?
Present.
Would there be anybody else from the library staff that you want listed?
No, not officially. I'm not sure who logged in, so.
Okay. And I know Chris is here. Okay. Good evening. This open meeting of the Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth given the outbreak of COVID-19. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Even if members of the public do not provide comment, participants are advised that people may be listening who do not provide comment, and those persons are not required to identify themselves. For this meeting, we're using the GoToMeeting as posted on the town website and on the agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Technical difficulties, if they arise, I have to suspend the meeting while we attempt to resolve this, and we will keep accurate minutes noting the disconnections and reconnections of members. Okay. The first item is the approval or the call to order. Motion.
I make a motion that we start the meeting at 6:07.
Second.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. We'll hold off the approval of the minutes until Mary DeCourcy comes on. I think she's to make it correct. Or we can go and review the bill schedule and state aid funds. Questions or comments about that?
There were a number of questions. No, I guess just ask.
I have questions too.
I'm trying to find where I am here. Melody Beach Consulting Group, is that any part of the AARP that was doing some kind of a presentation? Or are they
No.
two separate?
Yeah, they were two separate things. She was a consultant for the a series of programs people had to register to help people get back into the workforce, over 55 mainly.
Okay.
How many people
for that? So, yeah.
I have a
Once
question
COVID
about that too.
Oh, I hate this thing.
Sorry, Mary. Sorry, Nan.
We don't know when one other person is talking. So, but AARP came in with, I thought, a similar workshop.
They might have, and she had a number of guest speakers. I don't recall off the top of my head if she had anybody from AARP. And I don't have any of that documentation with me, but it was affiliated with, Age Council and so forth.
Okay. And was that well attended? That was a
question.
Oh.
And Jean responded, the library director responded.
Okay.
It was well attended. Yes, yes.
Oh,
It was
were you finished?
successful.
Are you all finished, Dan?
My question was it well attended? You know, how many people were actually there? So if that's the answer, I'm finished on that one.
Okay.
I can
Is there anything
move on
else?
to another item.
Okay.
I think
Are
Suzette
we,
had a question. Suzette, did you have a question?
Was there enough people at that job seekers 50 plus to make it worth it, $2,700?
Yes. Not everybody came to every meeting. Sometimes they had, they got jobs, so they would drop out, but then we consistently had more people. Once COVID hit, it was transferred to a virtual program and still continued that way. So a number of people actually did find jobs from it, and more importantly, they made, some connections, learned how to present themselves, and, had some assistance with resumes, a lot of those different things that were very, very useful. So I did feel that it was definitely worth it.
About how many people were at each session?
Probably an average. Sometimes they were filled, sometimes not. I want to say an average of probably 10, 8 to 10.
And what was considered full? 10?
Yeah, you don't really want, probably more than 10, but you don't want, it's not intended to be like a full lecture type thing. It's very, they sit in circles. It's very much a lot of, kind of group sharing and those kinds of things split into groups. So it's not intended to be a big group.
And how many sessions were there?
15
7?
weeks.
15 sessions?
Every, yes. It was a 15.
I couldn't understand what you were saying. 15 weeks?
Yep.
Okay.
New topic?
Welcome, Mary. Mary, we can't hear you.
No, it's
We
Nan.
can't hear you.
Oh, Mary hasn't.
There you go. Mary DeCourcy, I'm just going to check you off for being here.
Mary,
You
you're
have
still
to
muted.
unlock your.
You're good. No,
There
you
you go.
muted yourself.
Mary DeCourcy, you muted yourself again. There you go. You have to just tell me that you muted yourself.
Yeah, it keeps muting without me touching anything. So it looks like it's on now. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about
Yes,
that,
we
guys.
can. So you're present.
Yep, thank you,
You're
sir.
present. Thank you.
Yes.
Nan, can I have some more? We're talking about the bill schedule.
Mhm.
Nan, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, how are we doing on the payment
And-
for the digital sign? Are we finished with it, the paying for it now?
Yes, that's all finished.
Excellent, because it is a pretty one. Very worthwhile.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Okay, done.
Suzette, you had a question?
Yes, I had a few more questions. It said that one line was a get well for a library volunteer. I didn't realize we had any volunteers.
We've had one from the senior center with the tax write-off program. We had the same volunteer for several years, and then she had a medical condition and couldn't return. And so we just got some flowers and sent her a card and some things. So that's the only volunteer. It's to kind of work collaboratively with the town for the tax write-off. It's just one.
Okay. And petty cash seemed like it was very high on this schedule. $1,595.22 in petty cash.
Can you point to where you're looking? I
Well,
don't know.
I just have my notes. I don't have it printed out. But there were 39, 74, 47, 41, 172, 18, 15, 168, 106, 199, 190. I just added them all up, and it seems like a real lot for petty cash.
It's things that we need, that we can't get everything from our vendors. I can give you an itemized list next time if you like. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, that would be good.
So Every department
And
has
also-
petty cash. Okay, go ahead.
Is it usually that high? I mean, that seems very abnormal.
Yeah, believe me, Ed would be all over it if it wasn't appropriate and everything. We have $200 in petty cash. A lot of times you can't get a purchase order and run around and do all that stuff, so there are things that we need that we use petty cash for. An example, when I get the plants for the terrarium program, they don't do purchase orders. We can't set up a business kind of relationship. Some of it's from sometimes some things from Michael's that we would go, obviously we're not going any longer, for those kinds of things that we need daily uses of. We need to go over to Shaw's sometimes to get water, all those things, they add up.
Okay, seems high though. I had another quote.
It's
You
just-
were reimbursed for $1,449.28. What was that for?
That, I believe, I have to look back in my notes. A portion of that was for the reimbursement that was going to go through the Friends, and then it didn't. So it reverted to state aid. I think that was toward the end of the fiscal year. And so the budgets were frozen, and I believe some of those were for the websites and so forth, which come off of my credit card. That's how they renewed, and so it's reimbursed that way.
I have another question, but should I let somebody else go and then come back to me?
Sure,
I feel like I'm.
sure. I had
Yes.
one, and I found,
Anybody else?
I'm interested in fleece jackets. As a Hanover volunteer, I have my fleece jacket, but I wonder what the promotional design was for the staff.
Yeah, we're actually spending a lot of time outside now, and we will be in the fall and in the winter too, because of the the curbside pickup. Also, even when we're not behind the desk, it's very, very drafty. So we got some different colors, and it has the same Auburn Public Library logo as on the backpacks. So it's fleece jackets for the staff, which is paid for from state.
On the book with the lighting coming
Backpacks that we
out?
got for the Library of Things, that same logo will be on the jackets, and because we went through Masterman's, everybody could choose their own color, so it wasn't all black or something. So they haven't come in yet. So
Oh, I'll be interested to see when I pick
nice.
something up. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question? Suzette? Suzette?
I have a question about the Ron Rosenstock exhibit. What did we have to pay $800 for?
I think we discussed this before. This was to use the Merriam Room. We don't have the right equipment and hardware to hang those, and it certainly enhanced the Merriam Room. Obviously, no one's looking at them right now. So there were some that I chose that just needed to be framed, and we needed the hardware and so forth. So he doesn't charge anything for exhibiting them, so we just contributed some money for a lot of the hardware. You need specialty hardware and so forth to hang them.
So we framed his pictures?
Well,
Is
in
that what
return, we've had his pictures for, probably going to have them for 2 years. That's a significant benefit, I think, to the decor and the appeal in the Merriam Room.
I thought it was presented that it was he volunteered to display his. I didn't realize it was such a high cost.
I asked him to continue for another year, and he did do a presentation at no cost, I believe, too.
And I had a question about Barnes & Noble. We had 2 large orders from Barnes & Noble. Do we usually buy books from Barnes & Noble, or do we go through vendors?
Barnes & Noble is our vendor. We have a business vendor relationship with Barnes & Noble.
Do we
We have
get a
several
substantial discount? Do we get a substantial discount for using Barnes & Noble? It just
You get
seems
a
like they're high.
You get a discount no matter which vendor you use, so we do price comparisons, but that's not the only thing that matters. We were using another vendor for a while, but they back ordered so many items that it became very problematic for us to get our shipments. So we switched to Barnes & Noble. We use other vendors such as Penworthy and a few others for children's books. Barnes & Noble is our main vendor right now. for books. And while they continue to do a good job, then we'll continue to use them. But you
Okay.
get a discount with every vendor, and it's about
Okay.
it ends up being about the same.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have, thank you. I have one question, Gene, and that has to do with the library director's salary that comes out of state aid. I don't see that anywhere on the state aid list.
It comes out of a different state aid account. One of the older state aid accounts.
I'm
It
sorry?
doesn't come from either. It comes from a different state aid account from a different year. Did you hear me? It doesn't come from
I
either
did
one.
hear you. I'm trying to think.
It doesn't come from
It
either
doesn't
one of
come from
those.
what?
It doesn't come from either one of those years.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
I don't understand that.
Normally that would show up someplace.
Yes. Yep. Well, it wouldn't show up on a bill schedule because it's, it's not that kind of, comes out of the salary, emissions. But it wouldn't show up
Yeah.
here. Yeah. It would show up on another one. It's on another, I think it might be 2016. There's barely anything left there, so it just pulls from there.
Oh, I see. Well, we're using other years that we
Yeah.
haven't expended the money.
When I first came
Okay.
here,
Because I
there were a
wondered, I
number
didn't
of,
see that $5,000 anywhere, and I thought it's got to be someplace. But now I understand it's not out of the fiscal year that's represented by this state aid.
Right.
right. When I first came here, there were a number of state aid accounts that Ed asked me to clean them up. There were a lot of smaller amounts. You can, roll them over and so forth, but the state wants you to spend the money and nobody wants a lot of small accounts. So one of those, just the remainder of that is used. So it doesn't come out of any recent state aid
Okay.
at this time.
Anybody else have any other questions regarding that? Nana, go ahead. Nan Johnson.
Are we paid up now with CW Mars for 21, 22? I don't know how the year would go with the $32,000 payment. Was that a year's
Yes.
membership?
Yes, that's always due by a certain date, and you have to pay it by a certain date. You can't string it out. So I
Right.
believe we'll be getting our next one at the end of this month or October. It's a fiscal year bill.
That's completely. So we have paid, or we're
Yeah,
going
we're
to get another bill?
Well, we'll get another one. I'm sorry, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but yes, we're all paid. It's always paid right away as soon as we get the invoice.
So how long will this 32,000 carry us? It was paid
It's for
in
1 year.
August.
It's for
So
1
it'll
year.
go till August 21?
I believe so, yes. I'm not sure if it ends July 30th when we get the invoice. I don't remember the dates exactly.
Sure. Okay. So we will not get another bill until close
Until
to that.
next year.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
We can go back to the minutes if, Suzette's not on now, but we do have a quorum.
Suzette's
Suzette, are
here.
you there? No, she's not. Pardon?
Excuse me, Matt, did you send the minutes? Or- Excuse me, Matt,
Yes,
did you
they were
send the
sent.
minutes?
No.
Yes.
Okay. I
No.
don't know that
Okay.
maybe I missed it.
Well-
I don't know. I don't have them.
No,
Okay.
but if others don't have it,
I have them.
okay. Well, I guess what we'll do then is to have to delay those until the next meeting.
Okay.
Now, I would have doubted that I sent them, but nobody has them. I obviously didn't send them. Okay. Director's report. Gene?
One second.
I don't know if you wanted to say anything or if anybody had any questions about either of the two director's reports that were sent.
So yeah, I'll go through these, and then if anybody has any questions, it's more of an outline than I usually write. I did want to have a discussion about putting outdoor carpeting outside to cover the concrete and to see if there was any opposition to that. I believe that it's minimal, maybe like $300. I haven't spoken to DPW about it yet. I don't know if they need special glue or whatever. I also need to check to make sure that putting the, the ice melt or other things on it wouldn't, be harmful to it either.
Destroy it.
Yeah. So since we're kind of moved outside, as you can see, we've got some decorations going on out there, and patrons really like it, and it feels, feels good. The concrete, the DPW did come and power wash it, but it's decades of gum and just cracks, and I thought it would be an aesthetically pleasing, update. But it is part of the building, so I wanted to make sure the board wanted to weigh in on that.
Jean, that caught me by
Anybody have a
surprise.
comment on that?
That caught me by surprise since you are outdoors and it is going to start to snow and wear, and an outdoor carpet isn't really meant for our New England winters. It seemed like potentially spending money that wouldn't last us long, that it might also behoove us, if we felt it was really a value add, to wait until spring, because I feel like the winter conditions, leaves, it's just going to get more abuse than it would maintain its integrity, since we're heading into the fall and winter months.
For sure.
Not that I would disagree that it could add pizzazz to the entrance, but just that I think the timing is an issue, when maybe there's other ways we could spend that funding. In all honesty, it's 6 in one, half dozen the other to me. I don't think it's going to make or break someone's experience at the library, but I just think we might be throwing away money heading into winter months and it being abused. Obviously, if there's great reviews and the materials can last, then more power to you. But I haven't heard of that, so I don't know. All my experience has been maybe not as good in those conditions. But that is just 2 very small cents over here in my corner of the world.
Can I just have just a little input on it as well? I guess I didn't even think, thank you. I didn't even think of that, Jennifer, but I was thinking about, I've been on crutches a substantial amount of my life, and I was thinking of whether or not that would be safe for people that are using either walkers or canes. I know that when I've used crutches on materials, oftentimes the crutches just slip out from under you. So that was my only question, or concern, I should say, rather.
Anyone else? Well, you have the concerns, Jean, I guess. People
I have a concern.
doing it, so. And you said that you're going to be asking questions.
Suzette had a question.
I would question
Sure, excuse me. Go ahead, Suzette.
I was questioning
Suzette.
whether or not it would last. It would probably look worse once you put salt or ice melt on top of it. It would probably look worse within a very short time.
Right. Well, that was one of the
Especially
things that
if
I was going to look into, but I didn't want to go too far if nobody wanted to move forward with it. It is a concern. I don't know if it eats away at it or if it just colors it. I didn't look into it that far because I didn't know if the board wanted to move ahead with it.
Jean, I don't know what your work schedule load, like what's going on busyness wise, but I personally don't think it hurts us to ask, is it safe for wheelchairs, crutches, walkers, or is it potential to have a slip hazard or a catch, and then to know about the wear and tear in winter months? Because it's the concept of itself isn't necessarily, bad. It's just, is it good for the winter is my thought, and then the safety comes too. But it doesn't hurt us if you have the availability or someone on your staff does to do some research on them and know and we can, take that information to really provide
Sure.
feedback, that might be helpful. If it's not
Okay.
feasible,
No.
I think that's reasonable too.
Okay, so I'm happy to do that if there's enough people who think it's worthwhile to me to do that. If everybody, really thinks it's not a good idea, it's probably not good time well spent, but if you're open to it, and I can certainly do some research on that. I didn't go too far. I didn't know how anybody felt about even the discussion, so. Do all of you want me to do further research, or are you just not interested in it?
I'm not a fan of the idea myself.
What are you trying to alleviate, Jean? Is this for the bad weather?
It's mostly aesthetics.
Okay.
Cover up
I
cracks
think it would
and-
look nicer. You really can't do anything else with it. You can't put pavers down or anything like that because it would make it too high near the door and that would be a tripping hazard. So the only thing you really can do is something very minimal on the top, and that was just what I came up with. But
Could we paint it? Would it make sense to paint the concrete?
Could you what?
Paint it?
I don't know. I'd have to speak to DPW about that. I know there's pros and cons about painted concrete that I've heard too. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
They do have paints that have a grit to them
That's
to
it.
help enhance the
Yeah.
slippery prevention-ness, which is poorly articulated, but you know what I mean. That could be used. So maybe that's a good alternative to see for cleaning it up and sprucing it, paint to start, and then we could look at the carpet if COVID continues to impact and result in only curbside activity come spring, so it can last longer.
Yeah, I can look into it. DPW has a long list too, and it's not in the queue, so I'm not sure how that would work out either, but I can check.
Anything else, Jean, on the report?
Oh, okay, so yes. Upcoming programs. So unfortunately, though, there's a lot of work goes into the programs, and obviously we had to cancel a lot of those. Those are listed in state aid. Probably 90% of them are deferred, so the money is still going to be used for those programs when we can have in-house again. But I am looking into some more virtual ones. Ted Reinstein has agreed to do a 4-part series. He always draws a nice crowd and obviously does a good job. He's on television all the time. We're also looking to hopefully keep thinking we can get ahead of the curbside, but it's a tremendous amount of work. But we do want to put on some additional ones for children, the virtual programs. They're they really like the literacy packets. We have a lot of repeat people coming, and it's good to, to keep the presence out there. I don't know if I mentioned it before. It might have been somebody else I was talking to. We have to work hard at keeping our presence in the community. All libraries do. There have been reports that on a general basis, 23% of your patrons are known as casuals, meaning they're going to come for something or they're not. And so you want to draw them in. So we're drawing people in with our programs and museum passes, but we're not doing that anymore. And with COVID, I've seen reports that up to 40%, libraries are going to lose up to 40% of their patron base because they're just going to stop coming. So that's why we are working really hard, and we really have been very successful with the curbside pickup. But we really want to try to find time to do some of the virtual programs for children, and also get the Library of Things and some other things up there to keep our patrons, thinking about the library. Some of the things that are problematic is kids in front of screens all the time. So that's difficult. We keep them at 20 minutes, and that seems to work pretty well for people. So the website, I think Julie sent you the new tab that's plans, and hopefully you all like that.
I saw it.
Pardon me? Okay.
I did. I saw it. Yep.
Okay. So the website has been
I
like
like the tab, but what I really requested is that it would be on the front page, but the tab is better than the way it was hidden before, which you really couldn't find it easily. So
yeah.
The tab is nice, but I really wish that it would be on the front page with the logo.
Well, I'll tell you an advantage. There's an advantage to having it in a tab up on the top, because when you click onto anything in that tab, on the left, all of those other things will show. So you're actually going to see it no matter what. If you go into the master plan, you're going to see all those others on the left. So it's going to show up a lot more. The ones on the main website don't do that because of the navigation elements. So Julie was, we worked together, and, there's probably some more we're real excited about. They kind of get lost on the town website. The library's supposed to be kind of a community resource. So, we thought this was a really good option. So that will migrate over just like that to the new website, which I'm hoping to have ready in 2 weeks. It's not really a big redesign. It's going to look pretty much the same because of navigation elements and the way we want our things to be displayed. It's mostly a lot of the content is very, very dated. So we're writing content as we can. And which leads me to, I wondered if the board wanted to be involved in writing some content. I'd like to have a community profile tab. And I thought if the board wanted to spend some time finding some links for that, it's kind of like the Girl Scouts, the Cub Scouts, maybe a listing of churches, things like that. Not the businesses, that would be a different element. So I thought I'd put that out there. We could do it too, but if the board wanted to be involved in, doing some research, let me know, and you can send them to me, and I'll sort of create a document under a tab, community profile tab. Is anybody interested?
Need to know.
I'll help Jean.
Okay. And it might even be that you just don't even think, and then something will pop in your head. Oh, maybe that would fit. So just send it to me, and depending on how much we get, I can categorize or, put them up there. I think it's nice. Somebody moving into the community, for instance, they'll go to a library website, and here they can also see some other things in the community. So, and I'm hoping to launch this in about 2 weeks.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
And
So
Anybody else?
just to clarify, you're looking for things that are like community activities, support
Yeah.
groups,
Right.
and that like a church, a student activity,
Yeah.
55 plus community group to learn something new, that kind of thing, correct?
Yeah, and you can really send me anything. I think if it fits, we can find a way to fit, and if we need more to make it fit in a different category, what I want to be careful about is not really having a business listing, because that would be something different, or another department listing. But just send me anything, and we can sort of put that together. I think it would be great, and I appreciate if you want to help with it.
And what is your
so I'm-
deadline? When should we have things to you by?
It really can be any time. You're going to see some pages under construction for a while, because I want to get the site out there. I want to launch our Library of Things and our Wowberry at the same time, and I'm trying to get that ready to launch in about 2 weeks. Obviously, we're not going to have all the content ready by then, but there's nothing wrong with having a page under construction. And the other thing is, some libraries have so much. We don't need a lot. We just need, the things that matter. The things on the main website, we know what people look for. We're going to keep that pretty simple. For the Wildberry, and I sent you a picture because I didn't know if you knew what that was. Other libraries do have it. I don't know if you've used it. Nan, have you used it? Maybe?
No, I haven't, no.
So it's really, it's a digital, it's like digital browsing. People want to come in and browse, and they can't. And really what I tell them is there's nothing to browse, because they're all out on the curbside pickup station. But digital browsing is you can just scroll through. If there's something you want to explore, you click it, it goes right to the catalog, and you can place a hold on it. So we're not the first library to have this, but I've been wanting to do it for a while. But what we are doing, and I haven't seen anybody else do this, is we're going to have one for children as well. So it'd be a separate banner for children's titles. Those are updated every week, and I'm working with them now to decide how we're going to pull the items from the catalog and what we'll put in there every week. I think you'll like it. I mean, I would strongly suggest you try it I'd like to have some feedback on it. So again, I'm kind of hoping to have this ready in about 2 weeks for all of it. So,
Jean, are these books currently at the library available, or are these ebooks?
no, these aren't ebooks. These would be hardcover or print physical books. There's a lot of...
at our library.
I have to synchronize things a little bit differently, because it pulls we have to do our cataloging backwards, because if you've got something in process before you're ready to release it, it's going to attach to that, and then people are going to think they can have it and they can't. So now we just have to time our releases really, so that they show up and that they're available, and not saying in processing or, it goes along with what we've been doing with the catalog cleanup and the weeding. There are over 5,000 titles that are lost, that are still listed in our system. So we've been running, it's never been cleaned up. So we've been doing that and cleaning all that up. So when people go, they're not going to see lost, missing, damaged, or anything like that. So we've been, again, working on all those reports, and it would also physically weeding the library with thousands of titles, because we don't have any more room. So
Are you
trying
in
to coordinate all that just so that we can put our.
Are you in a particular area for weeding?
We've done, I can actually show you some numbers. We have done children. We've been working with the adults. We have so far weeded adults and children, actually, 17,555 titles. So we weeded those. We didn't delete them all. We have to go through them and decide which ones to delete. So that's a lot. That's a lot of time. And then when you delete them, you got to take things out of the catalog and so
You're
forth.
storing these 17,000 books again in the library garage?
No, they can't be stored. We have to toss them, as is every
Fine.
library right now. Nobody will pick up books. You can't save them.
Oh.
They get all gritty from being in the garage. They're not
Okay.
really
Good
valuable
books.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we still have a long way to go. We weeded quite a few out of the children's, but the children's room is still pretty packed. So we're going to have to do, another layer of it. But we have been very, very busy with this, and we have to coordinate all this so that we're not, too far behind in any of it. It's not ever been done. So there's, a lot of years worth of cleanup to do.
I think it was done. I think it was done a few years ago, and they just got checked.
I think some of it's been done sporadically.
Definitely been done.
And we've done some too, sporadically, that we just need, it keeps coming up. We know it's lost, just take it out of the catalog. But to do it, an all encompassing one, it's a very big project. So once we get that finished, we'll build that into our maintenance and we'll keep up with it.
You came. It was done pretty extensively.
There's a lot of
before you
records in there. Yeah. I don't know, there's a lot of records in there from way before that too. So maybe it was weeded, but they weren't taken out of the catalog. Hard to say. I don't know.
That could
So once
very
we'll
well
have a
be they
meeting.
were weeded, but they might not have been taken out of the catalog.
Yeah, I think.
That could be.
Okay, anything else, Dean?
So I don't know, if you have any questions, I can answer them, but I guess I did my thing.
No, I don't. Anybody have any questions?
No, those
So I
were
didn't have a
my
question.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
I was
Who has
just,
a
I
question?
just wanted to hear, so sorry.
Mary?
I don't know who,
Go ahead, Mary.
me? So sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check in and find out how the staff are doing. Do we still have the same stable staff? Are they in good spirits? Are they well?
I appreciate your asking. Thank you. We have several open positions that the budgets are frozen, hiring freeze, and that's all fine. We have a great staff. No one has been sick. We wear our masks 8 hours a day. We change gloves constantly because we're literally touching, thousands of books every week. We've got some in quarantine. They come off quarantine, whatever. So we all work really, really well together. I will say it takes every one of us every day, all day, to do what we're doing, which is why it's so frustrating because we can't get to programs. But the biggest problem that Jared and I have is our glasses are always fogging up. Other than that, everybody's healthy and well. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Good that no one's been sick.
Yeah, we're
That
all
is
pretty
good.
conservative. We don't go anywhere. We go to work and we go home.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Is Heather still with us?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her at all.
Heather is no longer at the Auburn Public Library.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's too bad.
She's one of my favorites.
Okay,
I know she
Anything
wouldn't
else?
mind if I said it. Heather moved 2 hours away. It wasn't because she didn't like it at the library and we loved her. She
Yeah,
moved
good.
2 hours away. I know she would be fine
She
with you
was
knowing
great.
that, so.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll get to some of the strategic planning things. I just wanted to comment again about the letter from MBLC that approved our strategic plan. I thought that was exciting. I kept waiting for Walnut to write, but I guess she's the one that finally reviewed the plan and said that it met all the standards and we'd be able to do the library services and technology grants or whatever else that are available from them. Okay. Then the tactics, I could not remember, and then I finally found it today that I had sent Julie the tactics for the library and for the Board of Trustees. And I think that I'm just mentioning the tactics because the Board of Trustees certainly ought to start working on that over the next month. Take a look at what we've got on that list maybe at the next meeting and then go ahead. I know the policy things are really important and to continue reviewing those. And if we need help from Jean, we'll have to request that. But I think probably that's what we're going to need. The printing, binding, distribution of the our public library strategic plan so that we have things available for people to check out the library. Right now, they can't just go in and look at them, so we ought to at least have them available for checkout if they wanted them. But we need it to do. Suzette, are you there? Oh, there you are. Okay. We're having problems. The town does not have a binding machine that's working. So I think we're gonna have
talked to
go
Casey
Staples to get
Hanfield.
that done.
Casey
Sorry?
Hanfield said we can't, Casey Hanfield said we can't use his right now because they're in chaos. He said when things calm down, then you can use it. So maybe we should go to Staples and just get them bound.
Yeah, it'll cost, I called Staples to find out, it'll cost $108. But we have to do something that we weren't going to do. I don't know where else the money can come from except from the friends. Because I know there's nothing available in town. But I'm not going to go. Huh?
I was just going to say, personally, I'm a little uncomfortable with crossing departments. I don't want that to come back to us later. I'd be willing to contribute $50 to the binding if that's an issue.
I don't have a problem with paying for that out of state aid. I don't know how much you're looking for. If you can give me an
$100.
amount.
It's $108.50.
For how many?
For 37 cents, I think.
Yeah, I can pay that out of state aid if you want.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Jean.
I don't know how that works.
Thank you.
I have to get a bill from Staples, is that, or I'll pay that bill and then give it to you.
Let me check on that. The town has an account with Staples. It might be better to go that route because we have a vendor number and so forth. So if you
Okay.
send me an email with exactly what you're looking for, and we might even have a discount option, I'm not sure. But I'd have to get a
It's
purchase
really
order.
great. We're taking the form.
I can't hear you, sorry.
Binder and the front and back is just a flat piece. So, okay, I'll wait for you to hear from you then on getting the money from Staples on that. Okay. I did send out an email to everyone that I could generally identify as someone that we contacted, not necessarily participated, but contacted for participation in the strategic plan. I think that must have been around 300 emails to send them to thank them for the participation that they had, those that did, and to give them a copy of that, and to also tell them that they could, not a copy, an attachment, but that they could also go to the library website and the town website to find that it was maybe easier to do it than just opening it on their computer. So I haven't heard much about that, but at least that was done.
I have a
we've already
comment,
talked about
Matt.
the placement of the. Yes.
Did we send anything to the schools when we had all those kids filling out the surveys, the teen survey?
The reason I could not do it, I would have had to send out 800 and some of them because there was no way to identify. The only people on the survey that we could identify were the people that wanted to be friends. But no one else,
All
we
right.
couldn't identify them. There was no way to do that. Their email.
Could we do it through the schools? Because they were all supposed to have done it. So
Right.
if you sent it out through the schools, let them send it out. Just give them the letter that saying, thank you for participating in the community survey.
Well,
That's a thought.
I could do that with the new superintendent.
Okay. I could contact him if you
Because my
want.
guess is he would have the same. Pardon?
I would
Yeah.
help you out with that if you
Do
want.
that?
Okay.
Yes, I would. Thank you.
right.
Now I can easily send him a link of a compressed
Yes, a link.
strategic plan.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Now, we had something that just came out tonight from Sage Consulting. It's the summary on the, what is that called? Strategic Planning Project Review. It's long, but he didn't realize we were going to be meeting tonight. So
Okay.
it just came today. I sent that to everyone, but that will be something for the next meeting to go over that.
Yeah.
To do whatever you want to do with that.
Right.
But it'll be interesting, and it gives what it does is it tells what we did from our individual points of view as a summary, and it tells us what issues might have come up that all of us mentioned, whatever those issues might be. And it's nothing, it is not as much to do for us to do anything with, except it should be available for the next group that ever does a strategic plan.
Right.
It would be very helpful. If we would have had something like that before we started, we'd have had a lot of information
Right.
about this project.
Right.
But so we can talk about that at the next meeting. I think since most of that information, that letter to and from town manager and the town council that came yesterday, I think that's good for next meeting.
Yeah.
There's not much to do with that except to have a conversation about it. I'm not exactly sure what is public and what is not. I don't know if there needs to be a vote by this committee. I don't know what to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you've seen that information, but I think it's next meeting would be a good time to start working on. But there's nothing to work on, really. It's a very settled issue.
Right. Just to discuss it.
So,
Right.
pardon?
Just that we would discuss it at the
Trustee
next meeting.
questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Trustees, friends, I talked to Phil Shea, and he said he feels confident that he'd have something in the next few weeks. He really has the whole way the tax things happened this year, the delays. It's not like there was any big deadline. There's just always stuff going on. So, but he'll have that and ready for us probably way before we're ready to do anything else. I asked Julie about the preparations and asked to talk with Jean about those preparations that would go on in the library to be able to provide the space for them once that were reinstated, so that they'd actually have some place to work. But God only knows when that will be. I don't know if that's January. I don't know if it's next June or when there'll be that kind of availability. Any questions on that? Okay. The youth survey obviously is postponed till God only knows when. And I did send that to the town manager. I put that on the list before I found that I had sent that to both the tactics forms as well as the diversity and inclusion. She has to have that. She'll be checking that, I guess, with town council. Okay. Now, anybody else have anything else? I just have a statement that I'd like to make.
Okay.
With all of the trouble that's been caused by the request to Julie, as well as the conflicts over the past several years, especially last 5 years, effective tonight, I'm resigning as the chair of the Board of Trustees, a position I have been proud of doing for many years, and with great support from a wonderful Board of Trustees. I will remain on the Board of Trustees to help in any way it's requested to shepherd the implementation of the strategic plan and the reinstatement of the Friends of the Auburn Public Library. So we need to have an election tonight for the chair of the Board of Trustees. And I'll accept any nominations.
Can I just ask you a question, Matt? I understand.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for your service and thank you for your leadership. But would you be open to being would it be possible to co-chair versus be the singular chair? Would you be willing to stay on and co-chair with someone? I know we have a vice chair. That's not what I mean.
Mary, very respectfully, I'd have to say, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
It's just, I'm looking for less conflict in my life than more.
Okay.
So no, I won't. I can't. I'll be happy to go over some things with whoever's elected chair. Very happy to do that. But no, I'm not going to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I respect your choice,
Do we have any
Matt.
nominations?
I just wanted to comment, is that even possible? Are we allowed to have co-chairs on an elected board? And I'm not nominating myself, just for that as a side. I just don't know if that's a feasible option and if that would
I
alter
don't,
people's choices moving forward.
I don't know. Suzette, you're turned off. Suzette?
Yes?
I just noticed that you were turned off. I can't answer that question on co-chair. Well, do I have any nominations?
I would nominate Suzette. She's really very much into computers and talking with the town boards. I really think Suzette could carry on.
I would second that.
I do not want that position. I think,
Okay.
there's a good
Pardon me?
reason why Matt is leaving, and I don't want to become the target.
Okay.
I will not accept it.
Suzette.
Would you accept it as a if it's possible to be a co-chairperson as the chairperson or chair people? Would you accept it under
No.
those circumstances? No?
No, but I will nominate you, Mary DeCourcy, to be the chair.
Well, you
Is
know
there a
what?
second?
Well, you know what? Wait a minute. I just want to say though that I just want
Before we can have a discussion, Mary, just a second. Before we can have a discussion, we have to have a second on that.
Okay.
I'll second.
Does anyone second Mary?
Matt just did.
Yes, I did. Okay, now we can have a discussion.
So
Mary,
I
go
think,
ahead.
yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, being a member of this board has been very important in terms of my transition as a citizen in Auburn. But I will say there have been some very glaring conflicts that bring a great concern to me to accept that nomination. So that being said, I would like to share the position. I'll accept it, but I'd like to share the position. And I'm wondering if I can nominate Jen to be the co-chair.
I would second that.
I would not at this time. I would need to know if the co-chair option is a feasibility and more, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Work is a little chaotic. I haven't left this seat since 7 this morning.
Oh.
Okay.
Um,
So I will
would you
accept the
that, Mary,
nomination, but,
without that,
sorry,
but what?
I was just gonna
I
say,
didn't hear the last
would
part
you
of
be,
that.
would you be willing to sort of overlap and help me in the beginning process, Matt?
I'll be happy to answer questions, but I really need to disengage. I don't want to be the person that gets cut. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, Mary. I'll
Okay.
send you the templates and the agenda. I'll do whatever I can to be helpful, but I don't want it to be the point person in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Okay, then I'll accept the nomination.
Do we have any other nominations? If not, I'll have to take a roll call vote. Suzette?
Yes?
Suzette?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Nan?
Yes.
Okay. Paula?
Yes,
Paula?
yes,
Jen?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Mary? Thank you.
Yep.
Mary?
Yes.
You accepted the nomination, yes. And Matt
Yes,
says yes
yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, no
Mary.
trouble.
yes.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to cover tonight? I will get those minutes out to you for sure. I'm sorry that I didn't get them out. I'll get those minutes done for sure. And there was one other thing that I was supposed to do. I know that. I had to mention. You know the trustees handbook that I passed out some months ago? It's a small white bind folder, binder, white, and it had all the trustee materials in it.
Yep.
I've got about 7 or 8 more. One of these days, I'll try to find a way to get all those to everybody so they can go in the binder.
Okay.
It's just easier. Because I had to make some adjustments, I can't just send the file to you with all of them so you can print it yourself.
Okay.
They have to print it out. I'll do that, and I'll get that to you. And
Thank you.
was there anything else? Oh, no, the state consulting, well, we can talk. Okay, well, anything else?
Just on
the
the
question-
binders, Matt,
Sorry.
Yes,
would it be possible if Matt's able to drop them off at the library and we could pick them up when they're available?
Yeah, I can put anything you want out
Yeah.
on curbside
I'll
pickup. We've done that a couple of times. That's not a problem.
Okay.
You'd have to let me know when you're dropping them off because I have to, it's a contact list, but I'll put a basket out, so I'll be looking for it. So just let me know.
Okay. All right, I can get that done in the next few days. Okay, anything else?
I make
Just,
a motion.
I'm sorry.
Next meeting.
Before we do, I just
Next
want
meeting
to,
date,
can we just clarify to make sure that I know that the next meeting that we're going to have and the time frame that we're going to hold it?
October 7th is the next scheduled meeting. It's virtual, which I assume it will be, but I don't know that.
Okay.
We were usually doing in-person meetings at 6:30,
Okay.
but the
6:30.
virtual we've been doing at 6.
Okay.
So it'll be at 6 at least in October, unless we go back to person-to-person
Okay.
meeting.
Okay. Very
Yes.
good.
Before we voted now, we wanted
Maybe
it.
let your hand up. I'm sorry, Jen?
I said, or if we voted now that we wanted it at 6:30.
Oh, sure.
Would that
Is there
work
some
better for
interest
you,
in
Jen?
I could have had dinner.
Oh,
I haven't had anything to eat all day.
let's make it at 6:30 then.
I second that.
Okey doke.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll pick over your job for a minute and just say all those in favor. I have to do roll call.
Aye.
Jen,
Aye.
Yes.
Suzette, Mary,
Yeah.
Yes.
yes, Yes. Nan?
Yes,
Yes. Paula, yes.
Yes,
Paula? Yes. Matt? Yes. Okay. So we can do that. I'll change that right now. 6:30.
so Jen can eat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn then?
Okay, I make a motion, we
You
adjourn,
have a motion?
if there's nothing else.
Okay, second?
I second. I second.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
everybody. Good night.
Everyone.
Thank you, Matt.
okay,
Thanks, Matt.
night.